Alright, so at the time of writing, the game has been out for I think about 10 days, a little over a week. I've been playing it a little bit every day, trying to get a few matches in. This isn't sponsored, these are just honest first impressions. We're going to go over good and bad. We're going to start with basic gameplay, get into a little bit on the aesthetic and customization, monetization, little nitpicks, and then I'll give my final thoughts and concurrent rating on it. An absolute basic description of the FRAGPUNK experience is like classic CSGO plant and defuse with Valorant hero shooter ability gameplay. It's like Zoomer Call of Duty aesthetics, Valorant, Apex Legends CSGO gameplay. The base gameplay doesn't do anything incredibly unique other than the card system, which we'll get into. But the game, it does enough to distance itself from other games in this category. I've tried Counter Strike a few times, both classic Counter Strike, Global Offensive 2. I didn't play any of them for very long, but I have played them, and I'm a big fan of Valorant. Maybe not a big fan, but I've made a few videos on it. So I have experience with similar games, and I think Fragpunk definitely does enough to set itself apart. It doesn't feel like it's a straight rip off. I don't think that the developers were just trying to make a Counter Strike. They're not trying to make a Valorant. They wanted to make Fragpunk. So it definitely stands out in its field, at least worthy enough to stand on its own. The influence is there, obviously, but also it's just not very obvious. It doesn't wear the inspiration on the sleeve, I'd say. Uh, it provides a different experience. That's a lot of words to say that. It provides a different experience than games in its category. In terms of the gameplay, we're going to go over the guns, character kits, card system, which is the game's biggest unique draw. Then we're going to go aesthetic, level of customization, monetization, little notices and nitpicks, and then brief final thoughts. So before we get into anything else, I rarely experience server issues. Overall, it's been a fairly stable launch from my perspective. The servers have gone down like once or twice, but it's usually not for very long, maybe a few hours. And both times it happened, they sent me a little thing in the mail with some free currency. So I guess they apologized for the brief downtime to everybody with a little bit of free rewards. But it's I've had high ping in like a few games here and there, but overall it's stable. I've never outright crashed on a game just because of like server issues, connection issues. It's doing a lot better in its initial launch than other semi big releases. I still remember when Overwatch 2 came out, the game was barely playable for like an entire week. But I've played Fragpunk since like day one of its official release, and just no real problems, no crazy problems. Guns, the gunplay feels good. It's fairly smooth. Every gun more or less seems to have a purpose. It's difficult to say any are outright better than the other, although typically, if I had to pick the most reliable guns, it's going to be the two assault rifles you have. Similar to the Phantom and the Vandal in Valorant, there's not really a situation where they aren't sort of good at, which is something that we've come to expect in this style of game. You can use the other guns, it's fine. You can make use cases for every category. I like the LMGs, but obviously the assault rifles are going to be the most reliable, the most typical generic pick. They're good in almost every situation. The shotguns aren't bad, and I want to note that because I really enjoy shotguns in my video games. I pick a shotgun in every game I can play at least once. They're typically my favorite weapons, and they're not bad. They're more of a meme in Valorant. They're really hard to use, but they are a lot more capable in Fragpunk. Although SMGs, other guns, they're probably more reliable in close range. It's still got the classic problem of, you can hit them with the shotgun, you don't one shot them, and in between the time it takes to shoot them again, they're just gonna mow you down. It happens. But I would say that running a shotgun is definitely more valid in Fragpunk than similar games, and you can get kills with them that aren't just like cheese. I don't know if it's just me. It's not even like a real criticism, I guess, but the game would be more fun without snipers. I hate snipers in FPS games. I think it feels like shit. No one likes getting one tapped from like 500 miles away. Just get rid of them. I don't care. I know they're not going to do that, but I'm just saying. Or at the very least, remove their ability to one shot on body shot. No sniper, no gun in the game should deal like a full health bar on body shot regardless of distance. Even if you have to make it 149 instead of 150, Just change it. You can make a case that snipers one shot up close to make it more viable because of the low firing speed, but guns have different strengths for a reason. You can't just let the sniper one shot at close range to try and offset its intended weakness of being made for long distance engagements. The operator is the most expensive gun in Valorant for a reason. Getting a free one is this guy's entire ultimate. I, I don't know. It doesn't feel good to get one tapped up close by a guy with a sniper. Right? It just don't make sense to me. But overall, the guns are fine. None of the guns are like completely overpowered, and there's no economy. There's no kind of like CS:GO Valorant method of here's your money, you get money per round, buy guns. The game has a system where you have like a gun category limit. So you can take any gun you want, like first round, and from there, you can take a shotgun, but if you die, you lose 1 point in like the shotgun category, 1 point out of two. So if you don't die during a round, you keep your point. If you die, you lose it. If you lose both points, you're forced to use a different gun category until you switch sides, which I guess is kind of interesting, but at the same time, it feels kind of arbitrary. I feel like this game is trying to do something different, which is cool, but also just have like a regular economy or don't, because half the time, I barely notice it. I don't think a single person would complain if the gun limit was removed. I think like half the player base wouldn't complain. The other half like wouldn't notice it at all. Either make it so that you don't keep your gun on death. No, just make it so that everybody has to switch every 2 rounds if you're gonna do this at all. It just feels pointless. It just feels kind of pointless. I never take this into consideration because it feels like it doesn't matter. And when it does happen, I'm confused for a second. Like, where's my primary? And I open it up, and oh, okay, I gotta pick it. It's just pointless. We don't need it. Get rid of it. Either change it or get rid of it. It's a fun idea. I think you could do something with it. But if you're gonna like force people to switch it up, just do it like every round. Just like every round, you have to pick a different primary, and you get one use. We don't need the like keep it on survive. I don't fucking know. I'm not a game designer, but I can say that this system just doesn't feel like it has any impact whatsoever. At least 90% of the time. And as for the melee, you have two choices. You have like a knife and an axe. There's very small differences between them. Most people just run the knife because it's default, but melee on its own is fairly viable. It's like a meme in Valorant. You only get the melee out to run a little bit faster. But the lunge, you have a lunge move in FRAGPUNK, which makes melee a little bit better. You can run with it out, you can gain distance, lunge around a corner maybe. It's never going to be the same as just using a gun, but they have done something a little more interesting with it. And I'll talk more about it later, but if you have the right cards, you can just run around with your melee out like the whole match and use it as your main weapon. Before I get into the characters and cards, I do want to talk about the duel system. This is also something that's pretty cool. If you get tied up at the end of the game, instead of having like a normal tiebreaker round, you get a series of 1v1 duels between both teams. It's like the style of a gauntlet. So if you kill someone, but you use all your abilities and you're left at 30 health, the next guy has all of his health and abilities, but you still have none and low health because you lost that last round, killing the last guy. And if a single round goes on too long, it starts ticking health down away from both parties, making it so that, theoretically, the guy with the lowest health is forced to engage the enemy before they're timed out. I think it's a really cool system. It has a lot of hype moments. It's really fun watching your teammates run the gauntlet, and then obviously when it's your turn, you know that everybody's watching you and all the enemy team is watching their guy. It's just a really kind of fun arena system. And different lancers, I don't know if I've said it yet, but that's what they call the characters in this game, like heroes, agents, champions. In FRAGPUNK, it's lancers. But different lancers have their own strategies and advantages in duels. There's a lot of like playmaking that goes into these 1v1s, and different lancers are probably better for different situations. It's fun, it's good. It's worth noting that this is something that really works for FRAGPUNK's style of gameplay. I think this would feel like shit in Valorant, but in FRAGPUNK, I think it meshes well with how the game already plays. So it's a neat system. It gets some ups from me. But in terms of the character gameplay and lancers themselves, The character kits are okay. The community has genuinely agreed that some Lancers are better than others, but nothing like stands out to me. I know which ones I don't like, but I don't feel confident in saying anything is strictly unbalanced from the outset, which is a good sign because it means there aren't any glaring issues. Like, obviously, we're just a little over a weekend. People are going to be making their tier lists, putting their opinions out there, but I don't know. I don't know. Nothing seems so like insane that I have to sit there and wonder why the developers thought it would be okay. I think pretty much every Lancer has playmaking potential, has enough power in their kit. I think it's fairly well balanced. In the skill floor, it's not too bad. Compared to a game like Valorant, I think Valorant's a lot harder to learn. The guns in FRAGPUNK are easier to handle, they're more forgiving, the character kits are easier to understand. Like, running and moving in this game doesn't make your gun go absolutely fucking haywire like it does in Valorant. And that's something that I've come to appreciate because I think that's fucking annoying. The guns in this game feel like they're guns, so definitely a lot easier to get into. Probably like more casual in general than Valorant, but that's not a problem. That's not a criticism. Not a criticism at all. The guns just feel okay to use. Some of the characters' kits, though, don't feel very inspired. Some kits just feel like they're more of like a hodgepodge of abilities. It feels like the character's aesthetic or their theme was developed separately from their kit. Sometimes it's not all of them. It's not all of them. Even if there's not anything necessarily wrong with the character or the kit, the design and the kit doesn't always work together. Let me just go over a few of the kits that I like and dislike. And by kits, let me talk about a few of the characters that I like and dislike. I'm a big fan of Broker's kit in particular. I'd probably consider him my main guy. This is one of the freelancers. It's probably the first guy you'll play. And one of his main abilities is just the straight up rocket. It seems fair. It's not that crazy. It sounds crazy, maybe especially if you come from Valorant. Like, why does this guy have a fucking Razor on a basic ability? But it's not that bad. It only kills on direct hits unless you have like the right cards. So typically it doesn't feel too crazy. The blast radius isn't too big. And despite being sold as one of the more, basic free agents meant to get people into the game, there is a level of thinking that goes into using his rocket and kit. He's not entirely like a completely basic, boring character. You only have 2 shots on the rocket. They can matter a lot, you don't want to waste them. You gotta think about when you're using them. Yeah, I don't know. He also has like a directional smoke, which is interesting. The smoke it creates isn't crazy big, it doesn't cover a big area, and it follows the same arcing line that you throw it in. So you have to aim it if you want to cover different areas. It bounces off walls, you can create or close off angles in cool ways. If you toss it high enough, you can like crouch and shoot under it. It's a pretty unique ability. It's a lot more interesting than just a regular smoke grenade. Then he has like a bomb thing, which is a little minefield. It's probably the least impactful part of his kit. But they're good at watching flank for you, in a way. You throw them in a tight enough area. It's not really for killing. They're not invisible. But they're useful for slowing people down. They have to sit there and they have to shoot them to get rid of them to move forward. So it's not like a hidden mine that's just going to explode someone unless they're really not paying attention. If you're running, you can sprint right past them, activate them, and get away from them before they blow up. So it's not that bad. He's definitely my favorite Lancer out of the group. I think they did really well with him. And quickfiring some of the other Lancers that I enjoy playing, Zephyr is interesting. I was really surprised when I found this this Lancer. They have on-demand invisibility, but it's also pretty neutered to the point where it somehow doesn't feel like blatantly overpowered. It's on a limited time. Enemies can hear your voice line before you activate it. You can only use your knife, no charge, only the regular stab like someone right in front of you. You reveal yourself upon taking any kind of damage, including enemy traps, and there's already a bunch of like reveals and anti-stealth cards in the game. And what is probably the worst part is that if you get anywhere near an enemy, a big pop-up on your screen tells you that you're close to them. So while I've gotten a few like stealthed backstabs, even like such a powerful concept of an ability, when it comes down to it, it's not super useful. It's not super reliable. I've killed plenty of Zephyrs using their stealth ability just by fucking shooting until I tag them once, reveal them, then they gotta wait to pull their gun out, and you know, I'd almost say it's a more reliable for rotating or staying out of like sniper line of sight instead of being used aggressively, trying to run up on someone and like getting the invisible backstab. Like it's fun when it happens, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen that often. And at the same time, I mean, I've been killed by a Zephyr, like popping out of their invis with a shotgun, so it's not totally useless. But for an ability that sounds incredible, like on paper, it's not that impactful in game. It still matters. It's still a good ability, but it's not that crazy. It works with FRAGPUNK, is what I'm trying to say. Because if an agent in Valorant could do that shit, it would piss me off. In FRAGPUNK, it just kind of works. So whatever. Kitsune is also pretty cool. She's got a neat ability that reminds me of the Spirit from Dead by Daylight. She goes invisible. You can't hear her footsteps, and she can move at like a slightly faster pace. And she's like completely invulnerable. She can't take damage. You know, you can use it to reposition. You can pop out right behind someone and mow them down. But she can't hear or see anyone else either, even if your teammates can see them. So you have to like almost take a mental note of where they are, or just totally guess in order to use this ability correctly. I think it's a really cool way to balance the character in what would be such a powerful ability. It relies on careful planning or pure game sense. It's so easy to fumble. And there's a sound indicator when she leaves this ability, like a directional indicator, and a small delay before pulling the gun out. So it's a really good playmaking ability, but it feels fair. For an ability that would sound so incredible, it still feels fair enough to play against. Same with other characters' invisibility, you know? I think the game introduces some neat concepts. I would say it's definitely more explorative than Valorant like ever will be. And then there's Axon. I've really been enjoying this guy too. He's probably my second favorite out of the cast so far. He's got a guitar that's also a shotgun. This is his ability. He pulls it out. It's a separate weapon with 12 shots. He is the only Lancer in the game that can slide, which he does with the shotgun out. And it's a double pump. It's not strictly any better than the other existing shotguns, but you know, you have a shotgun on demand, so you can still take a normal gun at the same time. The movement potential of his slide is so fun. You can slide right up to someone, boom, boom, they're dead. It gave me like peak Warzone flashbacks, like slide canceling around a piece of cover to pop out and surprise the enemy. It's so fun to use. It is genuinely, like, it makes the movement so much more fluid. And I'm going to talk about the movement later, but the slide is great. I also really like his sticky bombs. He can toss out so many of these guys. You can just fucking absolutely pepper an entire area or flank if you know the angles to throw them at. And with the cards, these things become completely fucking overpowered. I'm going to talk more about the cards later, which I keep saying, but I will just say now, there's like one that makes these sticky bombs homing. So if you throw them in the air and just arc them towards where you know the site is, they become like fucking hunter-killer drones and just fly right towards where the bad guys are, stick onto them, deal the damage. It's ridiculous. His anti-blind thing is cool. He can like press a button to be immune to flashbangs for a little while. But I think it also needs a quicker activation, maybe an additional effect, because there's not a lot of blinds in this game. There's just not. I think like 2 characters have a straight up blind. And there's like a secondary that you can use that pops out a flash grenade, but I don't know. I don't see people using it that much. Like, even if someone throws a flash, like, right in front of you, right? Stepping back to activate your anti-flash vision with his third ability is effectively just kind of the same as looking away, if not worse. It's a fun idea, but, shit, it could be a passive. We don't need this on an activatable cooldown. I don't know what else you could add to it. Maybe this ability is just a little bit weaker on purpose. Maybe the sticky bombs, maybe the guitar is just that good. So, you know, that's the power budget, but I don't know. His third ability doesn't really do much. But his other two just makes for a really, really fun kit. Like when you've got the guitar out, you can throw out the sticky bombs for free, and it's just not for free, but you know, you can throw them out while you're using the guitar. It's just cool. He's a really fun character. Some characters do feel a bit uninspired when it comes to kit design. This can come in the form of kits like not meshing well with the character, or kits not being very visually indicative of the themes their character's trying to emulate. There's like a robot fisherman, and this guy convinced me to play the game, right? Because I thought he looked cool. You know, I like robots, I like fishing, whatever. But his abilities are like a little pet thing that seeks enemies out, like an explosive trip mine and a smoke, like just a smoke grenade. He doesn't give fishermen, you know, it doesn't feel like I'm playing a fisherman guy. There's no luring, reeling, netting, whatever. It would have been cool to give him some kind of fishing rod. When I think of fisherman, like I think fishing rod, lures, bait. His mine is called explosive bait. There's nothing bait about it. It's just an invisible bomb that smacks you with like 90 damage if you run into it. So I don't know. Maybe they could have been more creative. Corona is also an interesting case. This kid has 3 abilities. He's got a dash, a little fire zone you put out that gives you like damage resistance when you stand inside it, and a flash that emanates from himself in an area around himself, which is like cool on paper. That's pretty creative. The ideal situation is like you would pop all 3, get around a corner, timing the flash perfectly, and then, you know, just destroy someone. Because you just can't predict this guy coming out of nowhere, then you can't see, then he shoots you, boom, then you're dead. But he's got his own problems. The dash is a little jank. It seems to clip on a lot of things. The flash can only blind in like a very kind of small area around himself. So as anyone is standing outside the radius, you'll just get beamed anyway. Or, you know, like a sniper is just going to shoot you. You'll be nowhere near him. And you also waste a full rotation of abilities if the enemy just like isn't around the corner. Like if you don't get the flash off, this guy's kind of useless. Not really, but you know, he's obviously still playable. You don't have to throw everything down at once. You don't have to spitball every ability for one rotation, but it does feel very much like his kit kind of hinges on that. Like you either get your cheese kill for 3 abilities, or one thing goes wrong, like your dash clips into something, you mistime your flash, or they're just too far away, and then you're either like a dead sitting duck, or if no one's there, then you just wasted like all your abilities on nothing. I don't know. I think maybe if they change this guy a little bit, make his self flash more viable, bigger range, bigger radius, or giving him like a dash reset would kill, he'd be a lot more fun to play. But I got him, I tried him out like a few times, and I just couldn't get into him. And there are some other Lancers here, but I haven't been able to play everybody. That's just kind of my thoughts on the guys that I've spent enough time with. I've like briefly tried the other ones, but not enough to give like a, I don't know, a good opinion on them. So the movement, right? This is the final part about the gameplay before the cards. It felt really slow when I was just getting into it, but you do get used to it. There's a sprint button. But sprinting feels like a nothing burger. Watching my teammates run around kind of looks like they're doing the Baywatch slow motion run across the beach thing. I cope by playing action because his slide makes the movement like 2,000,000,000% more fluid. But without it, it just feels like you're running through molasses. And you know, coming from Valorant, having a sprint button sounds cool, but it's not Neon. You barely move faster at the cost of your noise radius being like massive, so people can hear you coming from miles away while you're running like 2% faster. I don't know. I think sprinting should be faster, and fuck it, just let everybody slide. I don't care. The movement could be improved, is all I'm saying. The card system. The card system is the biggest gameplay draw, and I guess learning about it will kind of put some of the other shit that I've said into perspective. It's what the game sells itself on. This is their gimmick, you know, this is the game's unique mechanic, and I'm happy to report it does genuinely feel pretty cool. Overall, it's good. It's good for the game. It's genuinely fun. It's a unique mechanic, and it helps the game stand out a lot from similar games. I haven't played a game that has something like this, at least not like a PvP game. The basic system is that you get a set number of points you can put into 3 different cards at the start of each round. The cards are only active per round, and the 3 available cards also change each round, pulled from the inventories of you and your allies' own unlocked cards. So once you unlock a card, that's permanently added to your pool. They don't get consumed, and as far as I can tell, you can draw the same card like multiple times per round. Although the chances of that happening are pretty low, since there are like 164 different cards in the game, I think. There's a lot. The cards scale in effect and required points. Some cards only take 2, some take 3, some 4, and then some have like a scaling effect that depends on how many points you put into it. Typically, cards are less impactful the cheaper they are. Simple buffs like letting you see outlines of enemy traps, enemies revealing themselves momentarily after activating stealth, but expensive cards can totally warp how the match is played, like making it completely melee only, to cards like Squat Master that increase your max health as much as you can crouch in a single round. Well, the card system is pretty cool. Unfortunately, balance comes into question. Some have like overall very little impact or are super situational, and some are absolute horseshit. With the sheer number of cards at launch, a total of 164, with more likely on the way, uh, balance is just going to be an issue. This game may never attract the same competitive scene as like Valorant or Siege or CSGO. The game will probably remain very casual focused, even if it does have a wide audience. But it does help that I think some cards are banned and ranked by default, and then players can select other cards to ban. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know. I haven't played ranked. I haven't gotten that high, so I don't know. But pretty sure. Some of them also change the environment of any map they're on, which is really cool. Like, you can cover the entire map, regardless of what map you're playing. If you take the right card, you can cover the entire map in snow that'll let you slide around. Jungle grass that lets you stealth. And they have like a few like fucked up vampire cards that can make the whole thing look kind of hellish, I guess. It's interesting. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to put into one game. You can make one bomb site misty, or remove cover around the site, remove a site entirely, or even like add a new one. Like these cards will completely warp the game. Like each round you play will feel different, which also makes it easy to just keep playing the game because you get variety every single round, every single match. I think it'll take a lot of time to quote unquote get used to it. It's pretty cool. And there's also some cool card combos. Like you can see what cards the enemies can choose from as well. Try and plan around it. You can like mark certain cards and like tell your team like watch out, they've got this. You can like and dislike cards in the voting menu. Here's a clip where instead of getting a kill with a direct hit rocket, the enemy survived and kills me because one of their cards gave them a little bit more max health, which I didn't pay attention to. But if I held tab and saw what card they have, I could have played around that and I could have expected that. Certain characters can also benefit a lot more from certain cards. Like explosive damage, obviously, axe and sticky bombs from earlier gets better, but it also lets Broker kill with AoE damage instead of a direct hit if the card gets enough points, and just makes his two rockets like so much more threatening. Again, homing projectiles make axe and sticky bombs also ridiculous. And there's also like a surprising amount of melee cards you can combo together. You can get like a faster charge or a quicker lunge that makes the stab distance insane. Melee cards are also especially good if you get like the anime sword card that lets you deflect bullets before doing a big lunge stab. But there is a melee card that I really don't like. It's a fun idea at first. It binds both teams to only use melee weapons. No guns, no abilities, but I also just think it makes it boring. It's more like who has the better network, who gets the hit register first. It feels like a wasted round. And it's also just completely unfair if one side gets the melee only card and a melee buff card at the same time. They just win if they put the points into them. Like, you can't really play against that. I think it would be more interesting, and I would actually like vote for this card if you could use non-weapon abilities at the same time. You could use traps, you could use movement. Just disable abilities that let you pull out other weapons, like no rocket launcher, no guitar, but Broker can still put his smoke down. I think the card stops being so obnoxious and starts being like a little bit more fun. You can actually play around it. But otherwise, I think melee rounds are, they're just more annoying than they are fun. So I don't know. I hate seeing this card, and people always vote for it because it's a fucking meme. Like, oh, it's a melee round, guys. Don't fucking vote for it. It sucks. And a quick note on aesthetics. A big complaint that I have about this game that I vaguely touched on earlier, but we're going to talk about visual clarity, which was also something that's hard to get used to. Compared to Valorant. In Valorant, it's a lot easier to tell where the enemy is, regardless of distance, regardless of environmental clutter, which there isn't a lot of. But sometimes in FRAGPUNK, it's genuinely hard to tell if I'm looking at an enemy or piece of an environment. There's been a lot of times where an enemy has been obscured by like a map detail or an icon or some kind of ability, and I just like couldn't even see that they were there. And they, obviously they kill me and then I get pissed off. It feels like the characters and environments, they weren't designed with this kind of gameplay in mind. Again, the map design, it's Call of Duty. It feels very Call of Duty. The aesthetics and gameplay departments were simply not in sync with each other. These feel like Call of Duty maps applied to Valorant gameplay. And maybe I'm overselling it just a little bit, but it's just like, dude, there's just there's a lot of detail, a lot of conflicting visual clutter. I don't think the maps even look bad, but if I had to describe the aesthetic, it's like AI generated Zoomer Call of Duty. The game has like a punk theme going on. It markets itself as cyberpunk, and I didn't even know that the game called itself cyberpunk until I saw an advertisement that said it was cyberpunk, like after I started playing the game. It doesn't give cyberpunk. The tone of the design, it's not super consistent, and I think not being able to land its own unique visual design and tone is just going to throw people off. I highly prefer a stylized game with consistent aesthetics and design over something just trying to be realistic. I think Valorant, the design of the game, it was designed for that kind of game. Like I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. Uh, Fragpunk's design just doesn't do anything for me. It's so typical. It's so generic. But at least my goat broker is pretty cool, so it doesn't matter. And I really think this is the one thing that's going to hurt the game the most is just the lack of a distinct and unique visual style. The game was developed by NetEase. I think people are just not as interested. They're not as drawn to this basic realism human kind of aesthetic. Fucking Valorant doesn't do this. Dude, look at Fortnite. Look at any of the more popular games right now. Why who in the boardroom when trying to think of what this game would look like would be like, fuck it, make it Call of Duty. It just doesn't. These guys look like Call of Duty skins. This shit looks like something I would purchase for 2,200 COD points. It's like, I don't. It's not even bad. It's just so generic, and I don't know how the game is supposed to fix itself in that category. And like the UI is cool, the soundtrack is great. I love the music in this game, but when it comes to the design of the characters and the maps, it's just generic. It's not very consistent, and it's probably my least favorite part of the game. And again, it's not even bad. And that's the thing with this kind of art style is that it's serviceable. At the end of the day, it's going to be serviceable. I still know these are people that I'm looking at. It doesn't look ugly, but it also just doesn't really look interesting. And I don't know how the game is supposed to fix that because obviously everything's already been developed. They can't do a full visual overhaul and introduce a different graphical style. The game already came out. They're not going to remake those assets. So I don't know. I almost feel like this game would be cooler if it was like soul shaded or something. You could have made this shit look like Borderlands if you wanted to. But this shit is just so typical. And a quick note on fan service, okay? It's here. Not every female character is like Gooner bait. It's not that bad. But every time I get killed by someone playing Hollow Point and their banner card is like 75% just that character's like big fucking milky thighs on the default banner pose, I get taken off guard. Like most of the designs are normal, but then we have Circuit who stands out as like a pure fan service character. From what I can tell, she's the only character in the game with like a pronounced jiggle physics, and it's a little ridiculous. I don't even necessarily have a problem with fan service in games or media in general, but on a base level, I want it to be consistent with the rest of the game. I'm not saying that we have to get rid of it, but it does feel like a little out of place for a game that doesn't outwardly try to sell itself on like sexualization. Even her banner pose and noble charm make sure to have like a completely unnecessary split second shot of her fucking booty jiggle before the actual pose happens. And every time I have to see that shit, it's just like, dude, if this is what you wanted to build the game around, that's fine, but it does make it a little bit harder to take the game seriously. And like, if you have any doubts about what I'm saying, even some of the little like chibi versions of the lancers you can wear as wrist cosmetics are appropriately cheeked up as well. Like, it's here. I don't think it's like overtly distracting or that it hurts the game, but it also just doesn't feel necessary to have. It's gonna hurt people like taking this game seriously. We don't have to change it, but it's worth commenting on, and I think that speaks to like a bigger ongoing issue of the designers on the dev team like just not really knowing what kind of game they wanted to make, at least when it comes to design. So it's worth noting, and I think it's just one facet of how like little the game's tone is consistent. I think that it's just it clashes together so much. And dude, I still have no fucking idea why they called this shit cyberpunk. Okay, the actual character customization. There's good and bad. I'm gonna go through the bad first because it's easier being negative. Yeah. Okay, the skins themselves that actually change the character's clothing instead of just reskinning their base colors can change their character and silhouette so much that they look like a totally different character. Like, look at this shit. The character literally gets taller in these skins because they wear heels and they don't in their default skin. I don't know if I'm tripping, but this shit seems ridiculous. There's no consistent design features or choices that make me like consciously be able to recognize that this skin is supposed to be of this character. You take a look at skins in other video games. Take a look at League of Legends, Overwatch. You can clearly tell through silhouette and like core shared character traits that this skin is supposed to be this character. And we're not talking about like modern League of Legends and their skin line philosophy. This is an entirely different conversation. I just think that like the earlier critiques on aesthetic and design, this is part of it. There's no good consistency between a character's base design and a skin for them. I have no fucking idea who this is. And if I saw this in the game, like I wouldn't be able to guess who this character is, even if I was fully like I wouldn't be able to guess who this character is, even if I was fully acquainted with the entire cast already. Like, if I hadn't seen this skin. In other games, like, don't typically have this problem. In Overwatch, I can always tell, like, the stocky Call of Duty guy with an assault rifle, that's Soldier 76. The big dude with the hammer, that's always going to be Reinhardt no matter what clothes they're wearing. I can tell, like, the little girl with the stuffed animal shooting fireballs at me in League of Legends, that's Annie. The guy holding, like, a scythe and a little lantern thing out in front of him is Thresh. You don't need to sit down and figure out, like, is this supposed to be the thing? Magic always has a sword. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Because these designs are consistent and they're unique enough to stand still even when you slap a different pair of clothes on them, because they keep the core traits that make the character unique. They keep them. They keep them. They keep the. Damn. These designs are consistent and unique enough to still stand out even when you slap a different pair of clothes on them, because they keep the core traits that make the character unique from the rest of the cast in the first place. But because FRAGPUNK is so like typical and generic looking with no consistent design, but because FRAGPUNK is so typical looking with no consistent design philosophy, their skins have me questioning who the fuck these characters are. I like this game, and this is like a criticism of the game's style. The gameplay is okay, but like generic humanoid figures are just not that interesting. Realism is not interesting, and it does not help this game stand out. At the very least, you could keep like the character skins consistent with their base designs. I don't know if I'm tweaking, but like it's gotta be my biggest complaint. It's just visual clarity, is it distinction. Who the fuck is this supposed to be? Like the like the oh my god, making the character model taller in one skin. Other games just wouldn't do this shit. I don't know if I'm tweaking. That's just my take. But okay, the good part, the level of customization itself for the Lancer and the guns, I was pretty surprised. It's nice. There are gun skins. There's gun charms that you can put anywhere on your gun. Kill counters you can put anywhere on your gun. Stickers you can put anywhere on your gun. You can customize your favorite gun to look like something that's more yours, you know? Lancers have skins, but they also have hats and wristbands. Then it has like the Apex Legends style banner system that's customizable with its own background, foreground pose. You can put stickers on your guns, you can also put them on your banners, and any sticker that you unlock is also like selectable as a profile picture. So while I do have criticisms about the game's aesthetic, the actual level of customization is something that I really appreciate. This section isn't entirely negative. There are truth to these statements. It's not all bad. Personally, I'm a big fan of the little hats and headwear you can put on your character. My only complaint is that I wish it was a little bit more consistent with the character's theme. Like, I don't know why Pathogen can wear a shark hat. It's not a bad hat. It's cute, it's a good cosmetic, but she's supposed to be like a fungi mushroom lady. I think we should have given her like a mushroom hat before we start out of ideas right out of the gate and giving everybody a bunch of random bullshit. It's not that bad. But again, consistent aesthetic, consistent themes, it's worth noting, it's worth talking about. Keeping it concise just makes the game better. It makes the tone better. It makes the entire gameplay experience more fluid. It's not a big deal that she's wearing a shark hat, but where's the mushroom for the mushroom lady? I don't know. Despite the gotcha mechanics, though, okay, and we're about to talk about monetization, which is a scary word. And looking at this game from the outset, you would think that it's pretty bad. It's a NetEase game. It looks kind of generic, but it's not. Despite the gotcha mechanics, this game doesn't feel overly stingy with its points. I've only spent 99 cents on this game because I already had it in my Steam wallet, and I wanted to get a skin for my favorite character as part of like a special offer. But that's it. I haven't outwardly spent any money on this game other than 99 cents, and all my guns have skins. I have plenty of skins for like the actual player characters. And like at the time of writing, just by playing the game, I have been given 663 free units of the premium currency, and that's factoring in the 95 I got by paying $1. Like if I want to buy the battle pass, the game has essentially let me buy it for half price if I decide to get it, and I'll still have some coins left over. So I think generally, like from all of the events, in-game rewards, there's more than enough currency skins and gacha rolls you get for free to still make it feel rewarding as a free player. I have not felt pressured at all to buy more currency to unlock customization options. Each lancer and gun in the game have their own progression to unlock cosmetics, and you fly through these fucking levels. Like, I'm not joking. Over little over a week, and I've already almost completed like 2 of them. And on top of that, the battle pass itself, if you do buy it, it does look like it's worth it. There's a lot of rewards, a lot of levels compared to how much things might cost in the shop. The battle pass seems like it get your money's worth. And on top of that, a big green flag is that the battle pass lets you pay for the next one, and I think that should be a standard in a game that includes battle passes. Valorant doesn't do that, but it's nice to see that FRAGPUNK actually seems to value the player time spent grinding one by giving you the next one essentially for free if you decide to get it with the coins that you got from the first one. I haven't bought mine yet, but I probably will if I get near the end of it, just for the insurance of knowing it won't cost me anything to start the next one. More bang for your buck. While the game ultimately it doesn't pressure or hardball you into dropping money on it for cosmetics, but it still feels worth it if you do. So as much as I have kind of criticized the game here and there, I think that the kind of fair feeling monetization is a big green flag for the game. And before we get to the final thoughts, I do have a little bit of nitpicks. There's no ability to set a default loadout. You have to reselect your guns and relic every round, which is a little annoying. It's not a big deal, but it'd be a nice quality of life feature to pre-select my typical loadout, and that helps me to not be stuck with like the base pistol because I loaded in too late to select my guns, you know. And speaking of loading, sometimes it takes too long to load into a match, and everyone misses the first round of card selection. Give it a buffer like Valorant. Let people load into the match, have like a minute to lock in their Lancer, and then actually get into the game for the first card draw. We need like a ready up and lock in before the match starts. I have both suffered having AFK teammates at the start, and I've been that AFK teammate because we're all loading into the game at different speeds and there's no buffer zone. So, easy quality of life feature. Maybe we just missed it on the release. That's fine. I'm like 99% sure they'll add this in later. Back on the characterization, when it comes to like the character personalities, they're mostly good. Some are annoying, like Zephyr is too downbeat a lot of the time to the point of self-parody. It does feel like some of the characters have already flanderized themselves on release. Like Chum's voice actor is good, but the character itself is obnoxious. He should have been like a chill, laid-back fisherman instead of sounding like overly excitable, annoying, a little bit whiny. I think they wanted Pathfinder without understanding what made Pathfinder like actually endearing, and the fact that they couldn't immediately pick up on like, oh, this fisherman character should be chill and laid back, because fishermen sit there for hours waiting on a hook. Fishing is a relaxing activity. He shouldn't sound like season 1 Deku. Make him sound like a fisherman. Sometimes the characterization is either too bland or just doesn't fit. Nitro is too bland. Chum doesn't fit. But Pathogen's okay. You cooked with Axon. He's great. Broker's goated. It's not all bad. It's just some characters are a little bit iffy on writing quality. But that's also something that can be fixed as the game goes on. Add new voice lines, whatever. It's not. This is the least important criticism of the game that I've made so far. But I did want to talk about it. Blade Master is a busted card. There's no other way around it. I've won matches where the enemy had this card. You can kind of shoot their feet and use explosives. I don't care. Fuck this card. It's fun, but it's busted. If we want this to be one of the casual for fun cards, sure. But if I ever see this shit in a ranked game, I'm blowing my computer up. Infernal Hounds shouldn't be able to see you through the smoke. There's no counterplay to it. You can't see them coming, so you can't shoot them. You just take the damage. They should not have omnipotence in an area around them. Bulletproof limbs is also a little crazy because the way the characters stand, their arms are, hunched over in front of their chest to hold their gun. It seems like it's a bit much, but maybe it isn't. I don't really know how I feel about that, but it is in my mind every single time it pops up. I don't know if you should be able to hear enemy voice lines and vice versa. If I'm activating a stealth ability, my character shouldn't scream out in like a 360-degree audio experience that they're activating their stealth ability. I don't like Broker announcing to the entire enemy team that he pulled out his fucking rocket launcher every single time he does it. It's not a worldwide announcement. It's not like a Valorant ult voice line. But every time you use an ability, your character says something, and it's just audible to the enemy team if they're close enough. I don't like that using an ability helps anyone within an audible distance pinpoint my location. And maybe this is a balance thing. Maybe it just works for FRAGPUNK. But I don't know how it feels. I don't like it. I would want to see how the game plays without it. Your voice lines should be audible to you and your teammates, maybe not the enemy, and vice versa. And I do want to say there are arcade modes. They're okay. They're definitely not bad. Some of them are pretty fun. I think they just typically last too long. It's hard to justify sitting through an arcade match when I could just play a regular game. You can either spend your time in an arcade match doing the same thing for this period of time, or you can play the regular mode where the cards make every round feel different. Like Outbreak itself, it's a little zombie survival mode. It's a fun idea. I like the zombie and survivors progressively getting stronger, and you can use your cards to be a better survivor or a stronger zombie, but I can't really get into it by nature of how long it takes to play. I've played it like once, And I liked the concept, I liked it a lot, but that was it. I don't want to play it again because it just takes too fucking long. You gotta shorten these modes up a little bit to get people to play them, you know. And then in the chat box, just up the text character limit. I don't know if it's because it's based on like Eastern kanji or something, but by using English words, I can never type out a full sentence. Maybe it's just an oversight. It's just a little annoying, but I have to send like a full sentence in 3 different blocks of disconnected text, and it's just a little bit grating. It's a easy quality of life change in the future. I just wanted to point it out. And I changed my mind earlier about Lancer Balance. Nerf Hollow Point Sniper, nerf Spider's Traps. They're fucking ridiculous. And I don't know if Circuit needs nerf, but her sand pull is fucking annoying. I don't like this character. Okay, that's it. Final thoughts. The game is worth trying, even if you're not a fan of similar games. Even if you've never played CSGO, you've never played Valorant, you can still pick up FRAGPUNK. It's so easy to get into. I think it handles itself well. I think the game has a lot of potential, and ultimately, like, none of my criticisms stop me from playing or enjoying the game. It is hard to tell. Will this game last, or will it die within like half a year? But it's got potential. At this point, I'm just along for the ride. I'm gonna make more FRAGPUNK videos, you know? We can all hold hands and see how long the game lasts. Either way, I'm gonna be here to experience it, because the game is like, it's a solid 7.5 out of 10. Maybe an 8 out of 10 if I'm having fun in a really good match that I'm stomping. But, you know, overall, 7.5 out of 10 on launch. It's worth playing. There are ultimately no glaring issues or problems that completely turn me off from it. And I'm kind of an asshole. I can criticize games a lot. So the fact that a game that kind of looks this generic managed to keep my attention, there's something to the gameplay that makes it fun. You know, it keeps me coming back. It's worth playing. So it's free. It's free. Give it a try. That's my ultimate review. Is it's free. Go play it. You know, download it. Get some free shit. See if it holds you. See if it clicks. You have nothing to lose. It's an okay game. It's okay. It's not bad. And that's pretty much all I can say. That's everything that I can think about right now. I'm gonna make more FRAGPUNK videos. I do want to make some going over the different characters. Uh, Maybe with a little bit more deeper thoughts and discussion, but obviously I have to wait until I've both unlocked and played with them all. And that's another thing. It really doesn't take that long to unlock new characters. It's not that bad of a grind. I forgot to say that earlier, but it's not that bad. But yeah, that's it. All right, bye.